It seems like every time a new artist comes out with a hit, they are immediately labeled an industry plant. And the latest artist to fall victim to that is Doechii. After the release of her hit track Denial Is a River, the Grammy nomination of her album, and the co-signs from giant artists like Kendrick Lamar, a lot of people have been accusing her of being an industry plant, like this tweet with over 60,000 likes that says this doesn't seem industry planty to y'all. However, I don't think these claims are true. And to better understand, I want to take a look into all of the accusations real quick. So let's continue for a lot of more casual hip-hop fans. It seems like Doechii has just popped up out of nowhere. After releasing her now Grammy-nominated album Alligator Bites, Never Heal in August of 2024, Doechii has been everywhere. She got a bunch of write-ups from various publications. She got an interview with Rolling Stone on their YouTube channel. Then she popped up on Katy Perry's album. Following that, she popped up on Tyler, the Creator's highly anticipated album, Chromacopia, on the song Balloon. And probably the craziest thing that's happened recently, like I mentioned, when she got multiple Grammy nominations back in November of last year. After that, she had her own Tiny Desk concert, which is usually super big for artists. And this one in particular went viral with over 6,000 views. Then she got an interview from Nardwuar, performed at Camp Flognaw, had her song Denial Is a River blowing up everywhere, did a genius performance and a bunch of other things. Not to mention this whole time she was going crazy on TikTok. Throughout all of this, she was getting shout-outs from other huge artists. Billie Eilish shouted her out, Phineas shouted her out, Hayley Williams, and even Kendrick Lamar shouted out Doechii back in October. These things have led to a ton of fans saying things like this. Not industry planted to y'all. She's paying people. I don't know, but this sounds promotional. It was Eze and now Billie. I've never heard of her or any of her songs. Yeah, this is starting to feel forced. Now I can get, if you're a more casual hip-hop listener, how this would seem suspicious, especially if you just see people saying it online and actually don't take out the time to go check out her back catalog. It's pretty easy to assume that she's a plan, but to be honest, I don't think any of this is great enough evidence. Take Tyler, the Creator, and Kendrick Lamar, for example. On Tyler's album Call Me If You Get Lost, he put an artist who at the time had 0 songs out on the track Rise. More recently, Kendrick found the singer who was all throughout his album GNX at a Dodgers game in the World Series, so he asked her to sing some vocals for 3 of the album's songs. So a lot of the artists shouting out Doechii are 1, tapped in with the scene, and 2, they aren't afraid of sharing the limelight regardless of their popularity. However, there's still more reasons why people think she's a plant. For example, one of the biggest talking points that her album only sold 11,000 units first week, yet was still nominated for multiple Grammys shortly after its release. In response to the post about the Grammys, one viewer said, feeling real industry plantish. All this highlighting but only did 11,000 first week is interesting, so clearly a lot of people think she's a plant for a variety of reasons. But what they won't tell you is that there's a lot of other people who have actually known about Doechii for a while, like myself, for example. Doechii actually has a pretty extensive back catalog in history. Prior to her recent explosion, she grew up doing ballet, tap dancing, acting, gymnastics, music, and all sorts of those artistic things. She went to a performing arts school and clearly was destined for the music industry. She actually began making music back in 2015 on SoundCloud and would record at her friend's house. Doechii went under the username iamdoechii, and you can still find a bunch of her older music online if you dig deep enough. She actually documented not only her musical journey, but like her whole life's journey on her YouTube. You can actually go to her channel and watch tons of vlogs and other sorts of videos she used to make. So she clearly has the internet back catalog of like a normal person trying to make it not like a traditional industry plant where they hide all of their internet history. Then after releasing music for years, she finally got some attention on her breakthrough single Yucky, Blucky Fruitcake. Eventually it started to go viral on TikTok, and Doechii was finally getting some buzz in the music community. By summer of 2021, the track had over 20 million streams on Spotify and 2 million views on the music video. I don't know who found you or how they found you, but did they find you singing? Or dancing, kind of doing both? I blew up with my song Yucky Bucky Fruitcake like on TikTok, and I'm kind of singing and rapping in that one, but I'm really rapping my ass off. So they found me kind of doing both, and I had this EP, and like every single song sounded different on it, and I was singing and rapping. The buzz from this track was enough for her to lock down a feature on Isaiah Rashad's track What You Said. And this song, I promise you guys, was so amazing. This is how I personally found Doechii, and it's just an amazing song. I highly recommend you guys listen to it. I love the whole album, but this song is one of my favorites. After this song, she locked down a record deal with Top Dog Entertainment. This is the record label that Isaiah Rashad is on, the one that Eze is on, and also the label Kendrick Lamar was with for a large part of his career. So it makes sense why she signed with them after her feature on Isaiah's song. Yes, and how did that happen? How did you hook up with TD? How did they hear your music? I had a song go viral on TikTok called Yucky Bucky Fruitcake. And that song went viral. And AR over there hooked up with Top and told them about me. They called me out, and then I made my single called Crazy, and I got signed off of that song and many others. On top of that, it was a joint deal with Capitol Records, who were in charge of her publishing. In 2022, she was actually named Hip Hop DX's Rising Star. So clearly she was buzzing in the underground. She was also in the 2022 XXL freshman class, and I don't think anyone knows that or remembers that, because I just think people didn't really care about XXL back then. Actually, I made a video about how no one cared about XXL in 2022, and the class that year I couldn't even find a high-res picture of. That's how little everyone was talking about it, so that wasn't much of an accomplishment. But all of this may leave you wondering, if she was signed 2 years ago, why are most of us only hearing about her now? Why does it seem like just recently she's getting this huge push from everybody in the industry? Well, there's a couple of reasons. There had been a little bit more push beforehand, but it just never caught on. She did have a Breakfast Club interview years ago, like I said. She had the XXL thing. She had a few write-ups and did have a few collabs, like her huge song with Kodak Black called What It Is. However, the solo version of it with just her did way better. Back in like 2023, I'm sure you guys remember this track off TikTok or somewhere else, but I guess for whatever reason her name didn't really catch on until recently, and some people think there are a few explanations for that. Like I said, her record label is TDE, and TDE has also been accused of being not the best record label. One of their artists named Reason had accused them of sabotaging his album. A few fans have accused TDE over the years of kind of holding back some of their artists in some ways. There isn't much evidence for this, and I think it's a bit of a vocal minority, but it's definitely an idea that exists. So when Doechii signed on to TDE, a fan commented, "Horrible news that Doechii signed with TDE. We're never going to hear from her again." And to be fair to that commenter, she had only released some singles and EPS while she was at the label for years. Up until recently, of course, there's a few possibilities of what happened. It's possible the label had shelved her for to focus on other artist projects. Or it's also possible that she just took a lot of time to work on her album, releasing EPS and singles in the meantime. But in every single interview of hers I watched, it seemed like the interviewer was always asking questions about the label in some type of negative way, which makes me wonder if she was shelved or mismanaged or just put to the side up until recently. I've been signed to TD for I think 4 years and didn't drop a project. And so I've experienced a lot in that time, and I just built a frustration of feeling like the underdog. You know, for a long time, I still feel like the underdog, and I still have a lot of growing to do, but I just felt like, stop fucking playing with me. But how difficult is it to convince the label, right? They only moving when they feel like the music matches. Yo, stop fucking playing with me. Talk to me about some of the frustrations of artist development. 4 years preparing for this. Like I say all the time, we get our whole life to work on our debut. So talk to me about that process. Yeah, well, in those 4 years, I released 2 EPS, which were just whatever. She even mentioned it herself in her interview with Rolling Stone. I woke up one day, and I felt very ready to stop being codependent on my label. And when I say that, I mean codependent on their opinions, codependent on their approval, codependent on their advice. This is a very common thing in the industry, where an artist is stuck with their label and their label doesn't do a great job until they get with a new record label. For example, Sabrina Carpenter was with a Disney record label for so long and never really saw much success until she signed a new deal with Island Records and Universal and then blew up, to which people started calling her an industry plant. However, Doechii didn't switch record labels because I think they were taking a bit more time with artist development. Artist development is the process a musician goes through to develop their craft and skills necessary to build a professional career in the music industry. So the theory that TDE was holding her back doesn't make a ton of sense to me either, especially since in multiple interviews she mentioned the label helped her and it took it a lot more serious with the release of the album. It seemed when I started focusing on my debut album, it's both of my labels were okay, this is really serious. Seems like the same thing that happened with Tizo Touchdown, an artist who had been around for a while but after developing his style over the years began to get mainstream recognition and then eventually blew up. So with all of this evidence stacked up against the industry plan argument, why is it one that people are still making? Well, there's a few reasons. One thing that I've noticed is there are a lot of stands out to get Doechii like the account that tweeted the tweet with over 60,000 likes about her industry plant is a Drake and Nicki stampage. And when Drake has beef with Kendrick, and Kendrick was with TDE, it clearly just seems like they're sides. One fan said they hating on everyone. That's from TDE because of Dot beating Drake. It's sad what has happened ever since the beef. Another person said, what did Doechii do to Drake fans and Barbs? Someone responded, the Barbs hate her because she unfollowed Nicki. I think around the time she had her coke-fueled rant about Meg. And the Drake fans hate her because she signed to TDE. And anything TDE related is in immediate relation to Kendrick. And the person who tweeted about her paying people for support was an Ice fan account. So clearly there's a theme here. This can be further seen when you take into account the brief hate campaign they ran against Doechii, accusing her of coke in one of her videos with people like academics reporting on it. And as I'm sure most of you know, academics is not the most unbiased journalist. Doechii has also had this whole beef with Azalea Although Bank. Azalea was also trying to push the coke thing too. It seems as if a lot of people, for a variety of reasons, are upset about her success, want to bring her down, and are creating a narrative that she's an industry plant or a cokehead or whatever else. But I think the major takeaway from this video is to chill out labeling someone as something without knowing more about the situation. Like when people were calling 4Bats I understood it because he came out of nowhere. But Doechii has been here for a minute and definitely has a dope career ahead of her. If you guys like this video, you might like my video about industry plants in general and how a lot of these people that are accused of it have the same type of rise and how the term is stupid. You'll see what I mean. So just make sure to click the video on screen. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, maybe leave a like or even consider subscribing down below. Other than that, it's been your boy Matty Balls, and I'll see you guys next time. I hope you like this video. Please subscribe my channel.